This is Hannah. I'm going to be doing a phonics lesson on the SH initial sound in this video, and I'm going to gear this lesson toward parents as well as teachers. It's so important that gearing toward the science of reading that we are able to actually teach phonics and teach phonemic awareness the best that we can, and not just send home a pre-primer list or send home the Fry 100, but be able to actually teach explicitly how to decode these words, and then students be able to use them driving down the road, looking at signs, and be able to break words apart, or at a restaurant be able to decide what they want and be able to apply this information. So just some background on why this is so important, and going back to the goal of phonics, which is to be able to teach children to read words in and out of context, so in a text or out in the real world, and be able to identify unfamiliar words, not just one of the 100 that they've seen on a word list the night before, but be able to say that I saw this affix here, and I know this root word, and be able to break it apart and blend it, or I've seen this SH initial sound before, and can then be able to decode the rest of that into each individual phoneme and then blend it. So be able to apply all of this together to multisyllabic words eventually, which will then support fluency, expression, comprehension. So this first portion of this video I'm going to show is really just focusing on the sound we're working on. If you were using this at home or in the classroom, the only part of it you really need is the first part, since we're just working on the initial sound. And I'm going to play it real quick.
Kids versus phonics. Shh. Sheep. Ship.
Okay, so that is all that I need from that video. It is, of course, the links in this lesson plan. Next up in this lesson that we just discussed, the SH sound is our focus for this lesson. I'm going to be doing a read aloud. If you find yourself not having this text at home and unable to acquire it, then you could always pull it up on Epic or YouTube. Both of those are quality sources that could help you with this and allow you to pause the screen and go from there. So, with a child at home at this time, I would have them, doesn't matter what kind of whiteboard that you have, mine is a weekly planner. I have a ton of others in my classroom, but this is what we're working with. Also have something for them to write with. I find that kind of the larger markers as well as larger pencils kind of work better for tinier hands. And even at the top of this, we're only going to be looking for a couple different words within this text. If you want to have the number 1 and 2, or if you want them to just not put anything at this time, that's totally fine. They're going to be using this as their recording. It's easy to erase, not wasting paper, but if you want to do another sort of means of recording, that's totally fine as well. Just making sure that they're engaged throughout the text, you're checking in with them, that they're looking for, with you, the SH sound, and they're also going to record it. A note with the recording at this time, with this sort of lesson and where they are developmentally, they're going to be using inventive spelling. So if you look down and say, woohoo, that is not how that should be spelled. In fact, that is how to them that phoneme sounds. So our focus is on that SH in the initial or the beginning of that word. So if that is what we've got and the rest of it is inventive for today, then we are doing well. So within this book, if you give a pig a pancake, we are looking for the SH as the beginning. We're going to see what words we can find. So if you hear one, I want you to write it down. So if you give a pig a pancake, and making sure that they are sitting close enough to you that they can also follow along, as well as listen to what you're sharing. She will want some syrup to go with it. Okay? So this time they should be writing down she. So S-H-E. Sh-E. You'll give her some of your favorite maple syrup. she'll probably get all sticky. So she'll want to take a bath. So if they want to continue to write down the word she, they can. Otherwise, it will just leave it as that one, or they can keep a tally if you want to incorporate something across the board, how many times you hear she, or maybe another word. She'll ask you for some bubbles. When you give her the bubbles, she'll probably ask you for a toy. You'll have to find your rubber duck. The duck will remind her of the farm where she was born. She might feel homesick and want to visit her family. She'll want you to come too. She'll look through your closet for a suitcase. Then she'll look under your bed. When she's under the bed, she'll find your own tap shoes. 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 So this time I'm writing down shoes, beginning SH. She'll probably try them on and need something special to wear with them. When she's all dressed, she'll ask for some music. You'll play your very best piano piece and she'll start dancing. She'll want you to take her picture. She'll want to get her camera. When she sees the picture, she again, she'll ask you to take more. Then she'll want to send one to each of her friends. She'll have to give you some envelopes and stamps. On the way, she'll see the treehouse in your backyard. She'll want to build a treehouse. So you'll have to get her some wood and hammer and some nails. When the treehouse is finished, she'll want to decorate it. She'll ask for wallpaper and glue. When she hangs the wallpaper, she'll get all sticky. Feeling sticky will remind her of her favorite maple syrup. She'll probably ask you for some. And chances are, if she asks you for some syrup, she'll want a pancake to go with it. So, of course, if there was a child or a student with me, I would be making sure throughout the text that they're engaged with the read, they're listening along, and they're also paying attention to the words. So, of course, what we heard in the book was she, and then we also heard shoes. So my recording sheet would look like so. Like this, and if they kept a tally of each time they heard it, they could, and that could be something you could also talk about, making sure to go back in the text and verify that's correct. So then for something that I could do to extend this lesson would be kind of a look around the room, continuing to have my recording sheet or recording board, whatever it may be that I'm using. So if I want to keep my she and shoes on here, that's totally fine. Or if I'd like to have a clean slate. So of course, if I'm planning this ahead of time, I might even place some SH items around the room so we're not just drawing blanks. And of course, pre-read the text to make sure that there is the phonics key sound in a text. And then, so just around the room, just kind of having some things placed or have some things in mind that you know that you could use. And if they're struggling, kind of giving them some hints with some things. So one thing would be perhaps a shell. And then I could, of course, have them continuing to, we could take turns even. They find something, and then I record it, and vice versa. So making sure that somebody is continuing to record on here. And this is a good time when it is your turn to go find something. Make sure that's a good way to informally assess that they are looking for that sound. They're recognizing it, and as well they're recording it. Of course, we're looking for that initial SH as a beginning sound. And from there, still working on spelling and a little bit of inventive spelling. So then just some other items. Shoe could be around the room. Could have something with a sheep on it, a little bit more difficult. Could find a bed sheet. Or even a shirt. So all these could be just kind of scattered. If you had a lot of time, you could just go around the whole house and maybe even make a culmination of items and then both record it and then compare, see what you found. If you are on the road, you could even give a child a book. There's some pictures in here of items that was not mentioned, spelled out in text, but there's shirts, You give them a page and make them even working extended further than the SH phonics sound. I see shoes, I see shirts, whatever it was for the week when they're back in school, or if you're working on it at home, giving them a page. Another idea is a sensory bin with picture cards, calling out a specific blend or a phoneme, just individual phonemes, and having them look for that within that, like kinetic sand or rice or whatever it may be, a sensory bin. So having them be able to search or whatever you want that to look like. As well included in this lesson plan is some apps that would be good to use on the road as well to identify their growth with that and see what they can work on with that. So lots of good options to extend it even further than just a book, being able to, going back to the main thing with being able to not only find it in a text, but also in the real world, be able to record it and work on that phonics sound. And something difficult they might come across, part of that video talks about fish, and that's an ending sound of the SH, although that is still the sound. We're looking for the initial sound this week. So that might be something that gets a little bit confusing. And then, like we talked about throughout, the inventive spelling, I know that's something that can be frustrating if you are somebody who is by the book, sending home a spelling list and expecting perfection come Friday. Rather, being able to work on the phonics skills that we know, the phonemes that we know, build those words, and then later as we progress, be able to appropriately spell those words. So inventive spelling for now, and then going forward with that. So a couple of things with that could be difficult or a little bit confusing, but as long as you're working on the initial, then you are on the right track.